Now we review 2025's The Roses. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have seen The Roses, which is the latest Benedict Cumberbatch film. And, I mean, I've never been the biggest fan of Cumberbatch. And this was a comedy, and I didn't laugh. Benedict Cumberbatch plays an architect who hooks up with a chef. And, I mean, it's love at first sight for them. They're English, as I guess he didn't need to do a lot of acting. And so he could use his regular accent. And then, like, she's about to move to America. He hates his job so much, he's about to move to America. He says, hell with it, I'll move to America with you. You know, the first time they meet each other, they just click so well that within minutes of them meeting each other, they're banging. I mean, they are in the storeroom getting it on. And the rest of the movie is their relationship over, I think, like maybe 15 years. You know, it's kind of glossed over, but like they have a set of twins. And, you know, their jobs change and they wind up being very wealthy and whatever have you. But they have what we refer to as an Ozzie and Harriet relationship. But this is written by someone who doesn't understand the Ozzie and Harriet relationship because, I mean, look, I've studied this. Sociology is where this would fall under. And you would want to read the book, Why Marriages Succeed or Fail, okay? So they have the relationship where they are more expressive. So you're like, how could they say these horrible things to each other? Like, no, they communicate on a different level than us. So they're not saying horrible things to each other. They're expressing their emotions in a different manner. But in this particular case, this is a couple that they really do seem to have a love-hate relationship with each other. They have this resentful relationship, and it's like their kids are like, come on, will you please just get divorced? You're killing each other. You're terrible for each other. And I mean, that's sort of the comedy of it all. But I mean, it's like, I know a certain amount about engineering, and it's like one of the things that happens is this guy's design goes terribly wrong. And yeah, guys, I mean, there are architects, very famous ones, by the way, whose designs go terribly wrong, okay, and they keep getting jobs. You know, there was a guy that built a skyscraper that wound up being a giant death ray that melted cars. And you would think that this guy would never get work again. No, not only did he get work again, but he wound up building another giant death ray that melted cars that had to be retrofitted. You know, it's one of those things with architects, is that these things do happen. Okay? And just the way the building fell, you know, no, that's crappy. That's not crappy design. That something's wrong with the materials. That's a catastrophic failure. There was a problem somewhere else. And I mean, like, this guy would be hot news. You know, it was an award-winning design, and it was a terrible tragedy. But there's no such thing as bad publicity in this world. So that aspect of this film really bothered me. You know, also, it's like another thing is like the girl at one point, the wife has this restaurant called We've Got Crabs. And it's supposedly, she's just this awesome chef. You know, like everything she makes is utterly delicious. And it's like, yeah, if somebody had that, like there was a cafe in my neighborhood called the Forking Good Cafe, and the food wasn't great. It was expensive. Loved the waitresses, you know, but it went under because of that reason. It was a hipster cafe, but the food wasn't to die for. Here is this chick doing a it's like they accepted a Bed Bath and Beyond coupon for 20% off, and it's like you're selling gourmet high quality food at a reasonable price, and there's almost nobody showing up to this shop. What's going on? It doesn't jive with reality. Yeah, there are a lot of really high end restaurants that have died in the pandemic, or as a result of the economy after the pandemic. But no pandemic is mentioned in this movie. So I also have to ask, guys, like Benedict Cumberbatch, ladies, tell me in the comments below, is he an attractive man? Because, like his wife was like kind of meh. I mean, not unattractive, but meh. And I thought, like here is a guy, he's successful. I always thought everybody thought Cumberbatch was really sexy. They kind of ugly him up a little bit in this movie, but I'm sitting there thinking, he kept in better shape. Like, he is training like an Olympic athlete in this movie. And, it's like, yeah, you're kind of asking yourself, what is he doing with this chick? Just from a basics. And then Kate McKinnon is kind of the highlight of this movie. She wants to bang Cumberbatch throughout the whole film. She's in a marriage. She's kind of, happy with the marriage. The marriage is kind of the American version of their marriage. But, she's like, it's not that I don't love my husband and I don't want to have my husband drive me to chemo. It's just like, I'd also like to bang you. And I mean, yeah, there are people who are like that. I actually once ran into a lesbian who was kind of like giving me I mean, me and my wife, like, we could use a schlong. We don't have any emotional attachment to schlong, but we just like how the schlong feels. So if you wouldn't mind letting us borrow the schlong, we would totally borrow that schlong. We would love to get some good mileage out of that schlong. I think that's just what people are like. Some women, they'll go and they don't. It's not that they don't love their husband. It's just that feels good. So that's who Kate McKinnon's character is, and that's kind of a funny person. It's kind of a dream by all men, It's like, I think McKinnon is actually a lesbian, but I mean, if I ran into her, like, yeah, I would love her to come up to me and say, "Hey, Richard, can I borrow your schlong for the evening?" I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm not really into dudes. I'm not attracted to you, but you look like you have enough schlong to go around, and I could use some. I think I would love Kate McKinnon to say that to me. That's one of those things. Really, that would just make my day. Anyway, so this movie, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting movie. It's a well-made movie, but it depends on what you like. This is a romantic comedy. I didn't laugh. I don't laugh at anything. So for me, this is middle of the watch list. It's not something that appeals to me. All right? Just understand that this is not the kind of movie that appeals to me. It's middle of the watch list for me. But one of the things you should understand is, don't listen to my ratings. Listen to what I'm saying about the film. If you like romantic comedies, that automatically ticks this into the upper half of your watch list for you, because it's a very well-made romantic comedy. I just didn't care for the lack of realism in it, but there were redeeming qualities about this film. So yeah, I mean, The Roses, it's well-made. It's reasonably acted. I don't really see it as being very funny, but beyond that, you know, you probably should watch this film because you might really enjoy it. For me, it was all right. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't funny enough. Anyway, so as I say, middle of the watch list. It's an okay film. Kind of bored me. I'm Richard.
Greetings, humanity. I'm Randall the Rat, and I'm here to remind you that, well, you should probably comment, like, and subscribe now. And why? Well, the world isn't all that great, and Random Street Theater here is trying to change it. We do things like have trash removed from the ocean, pay for trees to be planted, and even feed orphans. And you can help. You can comment, like, and subscribe, and it's free. When you think about it, if you don't do those things, well, what are you saying? Are you saying you don't care about the ocean and trees and even orphans? Well, sounds like you're a bad human. And you have a delicious face.